poop, poop. I thought I'd make a video about how to recover the cupboard doors on your motorhome. We've got an Autotrail Tracker from 2007 and the doors are just that kind of fake wood veneer that goes a bit orange over the years. So I wanted to freshen it up, make it look brighter inside and more contemporary. So this is the effect I'm going for. I've used self-adhesive vinyl, but you can get all different brands. Fablon is a brand. So in this video I'm going to show you how I went from this finish, the original finish, to this finish. These are the tools that I used. This Gorilla Glue is really great because it's got a brush if you unscrew the whole lid, and it's got a nozzle if you unscrew just the top. I always have some of these wooden lollipop sticks, it helps with gluing and stuff. Didn't need a lot of glue at all, just if there was any tiny bits in the corners that didn't want to stay down. A small ruler, steel one. You don't want to use a plastic one when you're cutting with a craft knife because it may go through the plastic and cut you, or you'll just ruin your plastic ruler anyway. This thing. Plastic squeegee, that's what it's called, plastic squeegee. It's got felt on one end and plastic on the other, so you can just squish all the bubbles out as you're putting it on. Pen for marking length. Have some acetone nail varnish remover just in case, you know, if you stick it down and then you have to peel it off and oh no, you've got glue in the wrong place. This will remove it really easily. Cutting mat. So first thing to do, measure out all your bits of Fablon that you'll need. I just did it by the door, just like take them along, have a pen, don't have it there, but have a pen. So have your pen ready, imagine I've got it there in the mark. So I've pre-cut everything, and if you've got more than one door with the same dimensions, I would cut everything so you've got like a little kit for each door ready to go, because then you get it done much quicker. I've got my edge pieces, leaving a good sort of 5-6 centimeters spare on either end because I'm doing it with the inset panel in this door. This is what they call a shaker style door, I believe, where you've got the inset recessed panel in the middle. I saw a video where they said just get one big sheet, roll it over the whole thing, and then using a hairdryer or heat gun, push it down so it molds in, and then, but I just could not make that work. I think because this is curved, I found the best way was to do each edge and then the middle. So I cut this so that it will overlap by a couple of centimeters into the inset panel, and I'm going to cut it when it's stuck down so it's got a little overlap on the joins there as well, and then it will join up with no gaps in it. I start with these short pieces, so I'll position it over there, making sure it will overlap the two joins there. And then the crucial thing I found that makes it so much easier is to peel back the backing and make a cut in the backing before you try and stick it down, because I don't want it to stick into that recessed bit yet, so I want the backing to stay on. This seems like a real faff, but it's so worth it. And then to make it even easier, I will just pre-fold the backing back so that when I stick it down on here, it's touching the inset bit, but it won't stick to it before I'm ready, because what happens if you don't do that is it sticks to it. You try and push it into the right angle there and it will tear. So I've done the front edge. I'll do the same in preparation for the back edge. And I'm thinking about how much is going to wrap around the back. This is the part, the width that I want to stick at the moment, and I don't want the rest of it to stick. Cut along here, and then stick it back on, so that's protecting bits you don't want to stick, and then peel away this bit just like a dog ear, ready to stick down. I want it to overlap the recess by about 1 centimetre at least. That's about right, I can feel the edges there. And then push it into the crease to put the first bit down where I've already started to peel it off. You can see it's not going to stick there before you're ready. So get your squeegee and get the loose end of the backing and you push it down and pull the backing off as you go. So it's pushing any bubbles out before they can even have a chance to form, right to the other edge, and then using the thin edge of the squeegee just push it into the gap. So that's good. Now I just used my nails to make an impression of where the corners of the recess are, because I'm going to cut a little V shape into there so that it will fold neatly into the recess. Just fold it back like that and find those little dents I made with my fingernails and just cut an angle like that, but not all the way to it, because you want it to actually overlap the recessed corner a bit so that you have less chance of the original finish showing through once you've finished. I'm just going to cut the little tab off this, just completely off. You don't need that bit at all. Do the same on this side. So now you can start to stick fitting the recess down. Pull your backing back a bit so it's ready to pull off, but you want to mould it round the lip. Just moulding it in, and then once it's folded in, you know that it's no chance of stretching and tearing when you try and push it down. You just pull the backing away. Sometimes the piece of fabric just won't stretch that much. See, I have bubbles here. You end up having to make a little cut in it to make it fit the curve. Just take the craft knife, not right into the crease, but just slightly away from, and just go to the edge. So then you can squeegee any air out. You won't see any cuts that I have to make here, because I'm going to put a big piece of textured fabric in this recess, which will overlap this. And just really gently be careful when the knife goes over the edge of the door, because it will just go whoa like that, and then you'll get, so I just really slowly do it on the edge, and then you can get the scissors and just cut. And it doesn't have to be perfect here because it's going to be on the back, and I'll cover the back as well, so make it all neat finish. Cut up to that where you've cut it with the craft knife, and then just peel that neatly off. So that's the top side done. You can flip it over. See, I've got this backing still on the back so that when you are folding it over and you don't want it to start sticking all to itself, it won't do that yet. What we're going to have to do is feather this whole piece so that it will wrap around the curved surface. You can't just fold it over like that because it won't go. The first cut is going to go to that crease there where the joins are from the edge pieces. So I'm going to cut a really thin bit there, right to that crease point on this side as well, right to that join there, and then I'll cut this whole bit roughly in half. It helps if you have it over the edge of the table actually. Got my furry trousers because it's -7 today. You can see that I'm sort of putting a little bit of tension on there just to pull it round the shape of the crease in the door. Not too much so as it's going to break the fabric. And then these will overlap so they'll hold each other down as well. And you use a squeegee, push it away from the overlap so you're not lifting them up. So that's a pretty good result there. And do the same to the other side. Not too bad. Who's that? Who's that? Come in here. What you doing? She's a bit shy. So now I've got to do the long pieces. So I've got my pre-cut bits here. I'm going to do the same thing, long pieces as with the short pieces. Scissors. Don't sit on your scissors. Oh, yeah, you need to cut a bit of protection for the ends as well, because they're going to wrap around and you don't want them sticking to anything or sticking to the other bits of the fabric whilst you're working with it. I'll do the same for this bit that's going to stick along the back edge. So we've got our sort of 5 or 6 centimetres either end to wrap around the back, and we want a couple of centimetres overlap here. So just sort of roughly position it, and then it's this bit that's uncovered here on the back, so we can press it down. And then get your squeegee. Just come away and that bit of backing is still on there. And then fold the whole bit back like this. And then cut towards it, but not all the way towards it. Okay, that's alright, that's pretty good. And we'll cut across here, and this whole part can fold over like the top of an envelope. We're going to feather this edge to accommodate the curve. Pull the backing all the way out. And use the squeegee as you pull it out to push the bubbles away. So now I'm going to do the back piece to cover up all this stuff. You can lift up the excess with the Stanley knife, then peel it away against your ruler so that you don't pull any bits off that you don't want to pull off. So now I've cut out a straight line all the way around the edges, because even though it's going to be covered by another bit of Fablon, if the raised level of the Fablon underneath shows up, at least it'll be in a nice straight line. Pre-cut this piece. What you doing? You can see who's making all that noise. It's the Pickle. What you doing, Pickle? Do you want to be in the video? What you doing? You're a good girl. The best way to put it on to avoid wrinkles, especially as it's curved, is to cut the backing into thirds so that you can just stick the middle bit down and then stick the outer edges down and push the air out as you go. So I'll just do that. stick it back on. You peel back an edge, ready to start it sticking. I know this seems a weird way to do it, but trust me, especially if you've got a curved door, this is the best way to avoid bubbles. I tried it without doing that and it was a disaster. So line it up, and then you've got this one area here where the backing is peeled away. Stick it there to keep it in line. Grab hold of the loose end of the backing and you're just going to push the air out sort of from the centre. Just sticking the centre strip down, roughly the centre fill. It's lined up pretty well, kept in place by that central strip. So now you can do each side and start to push it down from the middle. And I've got hold of the backing with my other hand so I can gradually work out from the middle of the door, pull the backing off and squeegee it down. That is pretty much bubble free. Turn it round and repeat it. There you have the inside. We just have left the outside panel. So I've got it cut all the way around now, a nice neat straight edge. I can put my middle piece in. I've cut it to length so that it will fit starting inside the recess, but it'll overlap the end. This is only because when you stick it down, if you haven't got it perfectly straight, it will go skewy and you might end up with not enough length like that. I've cut it so that it's got overlap on the long sides and the far end. It's similar the way you stick it down, except for it's got this recess here, so it's going to want to come up over the edge. I cut it into a thin strip on each edge and then a strip in the middle and a strip either side of that, so I can stick the middle down and push the air out and then deal with the edges. Bit of a faff, but it's definitely worth it. Put the second strip in from the edge. And then the middle part, this is the part you want to stick down first. So you cut it into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces, and the first bit to stick down is the middle bit. So peel that back ready, and you need to line it up. So it's going to be level with the inner edge. Push it down in the middle bit there where you peel back the backing. Check it's not wildly skewy. Then it's the same procedure again, getting hold of the back, pushing it down as you go along. You can see how wrinkled it is because it's been on a roll. If you try to just cut it exactly to size, it doesn't work at all. You go as far as you can to the edge and then cut the backing off, because you don't want this excess bit to stick over the outer frame of the door. I'm going to do a cut there. The very edge where it fits into the crease of the door is going to be protected from sticking. And then to push it into the crease of the recess, I'm going to keep the backing on it, like push it right into the crease so it takes the shape of it, like where the corner is. You want to cut it there really so it will go all the way into the recessed corner without getting stuck on the lip. I'd fold it all the way back like that and really press it into that corner. You can use this crease as your line to cut along. Because it's still got the backing on, I can lift the whole thing up and just cut along that crease. So now I can take the backing away, like roll it up from underneath, roll the fablon down. right into the corner. And that's a really nice neat edge there with no bubbles. So you can repeat it on the other side. And the reason I do it like this and not use the craft knife in there is because it will cut through the underlayer as well, and it's under a bit of tension. When you stick it down, it will pull away and it will leave a gap, and that will be bad. Take the backing out. Okay, so both the long sides are done now. The short side is a bit more tricky, but I tried to do the same technique with the fold. And then peel the backing out from under it. Yeah, that's not bad at all. It's never going to be 100% perfect, but I don't think people will be looking at the doors under a magnifying glass, so it should be okay. What's that?